Yo, Joseph! You ready to do another episode of Film After 11?
Sure.
Great. My name's Joshua Zeiber, editor of the Videophile Movie and Home Theater blog, and this is the podcast where I force my children to watch movies with me. This obviously, as discussed, is my son Joseph. Now, this week's episode actually comes on request. Normally, I pick the movies and don't tell my kids about it until we start it up. But this year, I've decided to do movies in alphabetical order for some stupid reason. And we're up to the letter R. And Joseph has requested that we watch the boxing classic Rocky. The heartwarming story of a guy who gets punched in the face a lot. Like, a lot. Way more than a person should get punched in the face. Does that sound like a good thing to you, Joseph?
I mean, I like the Karate Kid.
True. He only got kicked in the face. He didn't get punched in the face. So a little different. Okay, let's get it going. And let's get ready to rumble.
I waited for 50 years to make you rich. You'll be able to spit nails, kid. Like the guy says, you're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna crap thunder. You're gonna become a very dangerous person.
And we're back from watching Rocky. Joseph, are you going to take up boxing as a career now? Does that sound like fun?
No.
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 What don't you like about it?
Getting punched in the face.
Getting punched in the face. That seems like a very rough career. Like, I don't know why anyone would do it, but some people seem to enjoy it. Other people seem to enjoy watching it a lot. Joseph, so what was this movie what you expected it to be?
Kind of, but not exactly.
Yeah, what did you expect it to be?
I thought it was gonna be more of a fast-paced action movie, but it wasn't really.
Okay. Yeah, it's also, I can understand thinking it's also going to be like a lot of other sports movies, which you had mentioned Karate Kid at the beginning, where, it does have the underdog who's not expected to win, and then, trains really hard and then makes a big comeback at the end and triumphs. And it had some of that to it, but not all of the movie was about training and fighting. Like, there's a big fight at the beginning and then obviously the big fight at the end. But then there's the whole thing between them, which is very different than most sports movies. What did you think about that part?
I felt like that while I was watching it, I thought it was going really slowly, but then I checked the time and it was going actually faster than I thought it was.
Yeah, I know at a certain point you said, wow, this is already half an hour. I thought we were only 10 minutes into it. So it seemed like it was going pretty well for you in terms of pacing. But this is definitely more of a character drama than an action movie, as you said. What's funny is that, so this movie was very successful. It was huge. It was the highest grossing movie of its year. It actually won the Oscar for Best Picture. People loved this movie. And so much so that they made a bunch of sequels to it. There was 5 sequels to this, and there's been 3 spin-off movies from this. And many of those sequels are your more traditional fight movies, more traditional sports pictures where, they follow that formula a lot closely. And Rocky comes back, he's the world champion at that point, and then he has to defend his title, and then at a certain point he has to fight to actually save America from the Russians. It's a little crazy in some of the later sequels, but I think as the series went on, it became more and more of a formulaic sports picture franchise, but the first movie is very different from all that. It's like I said, it's really a character drama, more so than a sports movie. And what did you think of the characters in the movie?
I thought they were pretty good. Yeah, and I felt like they were better than some of the other characters in some other movies.
Okay.
Like more thought, like they were more developed or.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly thoughtful movie, I think. So what did you think of Rocky himself?
I mean, he seems okay. I mean,
He's okay. I think it's interesting just how down and out he is through most of this movie. I mean,
yeah.
he keeps calling himself a bum, and everyone else calls him a bum. He lives in a crappy apartment in a dirty part of the city, and he's really just at the bottom ebb of whatever life he has, and that's just the way it is for the majority of this movie. So he's really beaten down by life, and then this random chance comes along that he doesn't even accept at first. He says, "I can't do this. I'm not the right guy for this," until they convince him otherwise, and then he really puts his all into it. Okay. Did you understand the ending?
I think I was a little confused.
Okay. Who won the fight?
Rocky.
No, he didn't. What happened at the end of this movie, and it's maybe a little hard to understand, especially if you don't know much about boxing. And I'm going to admit, I'm not very versed in boxing by any means. But what happened is that because neither of the fighters knocked each other down, there was no knockout where someone knocked the other one down to the point that they couldn't get back up on their own. If that had happened, that the other person who's still standing is the winner. Neither one of them had a solid knockout at the end when the round ended. And so an announcer says that it's a split decision. And that means that there's 3 judges in a boxing match. And if there's no solid knockout, they have to decide which one of the 2 fighters is the winner. And they decide based on fighting technique, who had the most blows on the other person, things like that, who they thought was the better fighter, despite the fact that they didn't get a knockout. And a split decision means that 2 of the 3 judges voted one way and the other judge voted the other way. And so in this case, they voted for Creed. The other point is that, Rocky went into this expecting he wasn't going to win, right?
Yeah.
But he wanted to do what's called going the distance. He wanted to go to the distance, which means that he didn't want to get knocked out in the first or second round. He wanted to go through the whole fight standing and prove that he could make it to the end. Whether he won or lost, that was a victory for him, that he proved he was a real fighter who could fight the world champion and come that close to the victory. Okay. Did you understand the difference in fighting between Rocky and Apollo?
Not really, but I saw Apollo was kind of going for it, and he was trying to land all the punches, and then Rocky would only go a couple of times, but they were really strong hits.
Right. Yeah. Apollo was more showy, right? He's a showboat fighter. He dances around in the ring. He gets a lot of hits in, but and for most of the opponents that he's ever fought, that's enough, and they go down because he hits them first, and he hits them pretty strong, and they go down. The difference in this fight was that Rocky had way more endurance than he was expecting. Rocky had more raw power, and he would stand there and just take a beating, and he wouldn't go down. And Apollo wasn't used to that. And then when Rocky landed a real blow on him, he wasn't used to getting hit that hard either, because he's the world champ and he knows how to move and duck and dodge. But Rocky really hit him hard and knocked him to the floor. He didn't get a complete knockout, because the fighter can climb back up on his own without someone picking him up, that's not considered a knockout. But still, he was not expecting to have to fight that hard against a fighter who was not a professional on his level, because he was, the world champion, and he's used to fighting really high-ranked fighters. And Rocky was a nobody, that they picked him out of obscurity to have this fight that was really just meant for show. It wasn't, Apollo thought he'd just walk in there. He didn't even really train for it, just expecting he would win with no problem. And that's why Rocky was able to take him down, because the expectations were so low. Okay. So, was there anything else that surprised you in this movie?
Well, one thing that I liked in this movie was the soundtrack was pretty good.
The theme song, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very famous theme song, and it really gets you going, right? Interestingly, they don't use a lot of music in the movie except for the beginning and the end, the victory theme at the end. But for a lot of the movie, it's surprisingly quiet. You know, there's a lot of just talking, and there's not a lot going on, but it's compelling still, right? Did you feel that way?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. There was also in this movie a very famous montage where Rocky is running and training and fighting, and he slowly gets better and better at doing it.
Yeah.
Did you like that part?
Yeah, I think that was my favorite
That
part.
was your favorite part? Yeah. That's of course probably the most famous scene in the movie, especially when he stands in front of that statue and raises his arms. I mean, that was on most of the posters for this. And it's become like an iconic moment in film. What did you think of Adrian as a character?
I felt like she was too quiet.
She was very shy.
Yeah.
Too much so for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I felt like it was very real, but I feel like in a movie, she was a little quiet, or I might just not be used to that.
I think that this movie really defies expectations with that sort of thing because, even Adrian herself would tell you that she's not much of a looker, or at least she felt that she wasn't. And, she didn't really expect or even want a romance with anyone. She was very happy to just be at home. But Rocky saw something in her that really he found really very compelling.
You need some help with that case? There's a good game down in the Spectrum tonight. Want to go to the basketball game?
When he has that relationship with Adrian, it's very tender, I thought.
Yeah.
It was very, because you expect he's a fighter. He's probably very macho and gonna be very aggressive in who he dates and everything. But he didn't. He was a very gentle guy at heart, ultimately.
Yeah, I originally done it. I carry pictures of all my fights. I originally done it in the Baby Crenshaw fight. You see that? Big Baby's about the size of an airplane. I broke both my hands on his face. I lost that fight, but that's a nice picture, don't you think? See how it works there? Real nice. Come on, you having a good time?
Okay. With all that said, for our rating scale for this podcast, where do you go for this? A W or an L?
I'd give it a W.
Now, is this a pretty strong W, or is this sort of you were debating where to go with it?
I think it's a pretty strong W.
Okay, cool. All right, that being the case, did you have anything else to say?
No.
No, okay. Well, I will just encourage our viewers to like, share, and subscribe.
Please subscribe.
And check out our last episode on Poltergeist, because that was really fun. You about ready?
Yeah.
All right. In the spirit of this movie.
Not nice.
No, I'm supposed to be nice?
Yes, you
I
are
didn't realize
supposed to be nice.